Good evening. I would like to call this meeting for the January 20th Board of Commissioners to order. We would like to start with our invocation, which will be led by Pastor Harold Gerhardt, and then we will have the pledge led by Miss Emma Johnson and Breland Johnson. So, Pastor Gerhardt, if I could have you please come to the front, please.
Honored to be here with you tonight, and may God bless you, and let us pray. Father, we come before you, Lord, tonight, and Lord, as we are gathered in this meeting tonight, Lord, we ask you, Lord, that each one that speaks and each one that hears would be mindful of one another, and most of all, mindful of you. Lord, and we just ask your leadership, your direction, Lord, to the this meeting tonight. Lord, and we just pray, dear God, that each one would just listen to your voice, Lord, and get their leadership from you. And Lord, and we thank you, Lord, for the privilege of being here tonight. We ask your blessings upon each one that's attending tonight. And Lord, and we ask your blessings upon those that's in leadership, Lord, and give them wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Lord, and we just thank you, Lord, in Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. And again, I'd like to introduce Ms. Emma and Breland Johnson. Emma is 8 years old, and she's in the second grade at Community Baptist School, and Breland is 7 in the second grade at Community Baptist School. So, ladies, if I could have you come up to the front here. And if I could have everyone please turn toward the flag and render the proper salute. Ladies, at your pleasure. Yes. Whenever you're ready.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great job.
Thank you, ladies.
That's pretty.
That takes us to item 4 on our agenda, which is our recognition. If I could please have Ms. Tinley Davis come up front here, and you will lead us in this next part.
Hi, my name is Tinley Davis. I'm this year's Lead for North Carolina Fellow with the UNC School of Government. One of my big tasks for this year has been leading and executing Employee Academy, which was a 5-week program this fall where we had employees from across the county come and watch presentations and do facility tours for every single corner of our county to increase interdepartmental awareness and really just have a better understanding of what each person does in the grand scheme of the county. So if everyone who participated in Employee Academy could come forward, we would like to recognize you.
Do we have them come down now? If you guys would mind coming down.
Okay, as I call your name, if you just want to come around here, we have Matt Daniels, Nicholas Duncan, Macy Durham, Jonathan Elliott, Ellington, sorry.
You get about anything, right?
Jimmy Nance, Brittany Pretty, Angie Stallings, and Richard Stout. And then we had a few folks who weren't able to make it tonight, but I still wanted to recognize them. We had Miss Lizette Tisnato, Diane Ruggiano, Kimberly Rose, Polly Makins, Raven Hairston, and Pam Eanes. So thank you all for being a part of Employee Academy. I appreciate it, and I hope you all took at least something from it. And while they're spreading out, I'm going to take this opportunity to plug Citizens Academy, which is an upcoming program that we have in the spring, where we'll do something similar to Employees Academy, and that we'll have different department leaders come and give a little overview of what they do day to day. We'll have more facility tours. We'll get to go see some of the water treatment plants, water towers, things like that. It'll be a really cool time. So I really encourage anyone who's interested in Citizens Academy to check it out. We're going to have the application live on our website in the next week at the latest. Would love to have you guys. It's going to be 10 weeks, and it's going to start in mid-March. If you have any questions, you can contact the county manager's office, and we can let you know. Thank you all.
Congratulations.
So we work from a prepared agenda. Our agenda is posted 2 weeks before our meetings, and we've had plenty of time to look over these. Gentlemen, do we have any changes or amendments we need to make to our agenda?
Mr. Chair, I move that we remove item 6E and that we move item 8A prior to public comment.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Richardson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion's carried. Also, we have items on our consent agenda. Items on our consent agenda are considered to be non-controversial in nature. If you have any questions about anything on the consent agenda, please reach out to the county manager's office. With the amendments made, do we have a motion to approve our consent agenda? Motion by Commissioner Richardson.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Cowell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. That brings us with the amendment to presentation by Wright Archer, Division of Engineer for NCDOT.
I'm going to introduce Wright, and he doesn't need any introduction. Y'all know him, but for the sake of the citizens here, my name is Mike Fox. I'm the board member for the Department of Transportation representing Division 7, which Wright is our division engineer over Division 7. That is Rockingham, Caswell, Guilford, Alamance, and Orange counties. And so this is a man with a lot of responsibility on his shoulders in charge of all the transportation that's not city-owned in those 5 counties. But we've had a great relationship with Rockingham County, with your commissioners and your staff over the years, and we've been able to do a lot of good projects, and we got a lot more projects coming. And so Wright's going to go over an update on some of those, and I'll turn it over to him at this point.
Thank you, Mike. And thank you, Chairman. Thanks for having us here. Like we were talking earlier, this is something we want to start doing maybe every quarter, just to update, kind of a project update. There is a lot going on in Rockingham County, I think, as everybody knows, and that's certainly a big part of what we do, and we want to be able to assist in that and make sure we've got the roadway and infrastructure that we need. I would like to quickly introduce a couple other folks here. Have District Engineer Jeremy Delap. He's here for all the hard questions, so if we'll bring Jeremy here. And then and then Deputy Division Engineer Matthew Whitley. So I'll just jump into the presentation. Like Mike said, we've just got a few projects to go over, and anytime you have questions, please don't hesitate to interrupt. A couple of the projects we'd like to go over is Barnes Street, Lindsay Bridge, NC 135 over US 220. That's a project that was just let actually last month. Then we have a couple smaller projects, Estes Road, Island Drive.
It's not projected, so I want you to know.
Okay.
So they can see what you're talking about. So
We got it, okay.
That's what they
All right, cool.
see. All right.
Thank you. Sorry about that. So, and then we have some future projects coming down the road is the Eden Roundabout, the work on US 220. We are starting the preliminary engineering on that, and I'll get into a little bit of detail on that. And then the NC 135 at 2nd Avenue. That's kind of that's a small project, but very unique. And I'll touch base on that, and then finish up with our resurfacing and pavement preservation. So to start with, let's talk about Barnes Street. That's a project right there over Barnes Street over US 29. This is a little bit more than a conventional bridge program or a bridge replacement project. Because of all the development we have in there, we've obviously replacing the bridge and upgrading that structure, widening Barnes Street to 5 lanes, adding sidewalks on both sides. But one thing we're also looking at is for our future 29 expansion, we are setting those bridge piers back to accommodate that to the future I-785 corridor. And also to the east side of the interchange, we are making some improvements there to the on and off ramps there, just because we've got so much traffic volume. And then over to the northwest quadrant, we are working with one of the developers there to incorporate some of their required improvements into the project as well. And that's usually a win-win for both the Department of Transportation and the developer when they can work kind of in conjunction with our contractors. We do that through a developer's agreement. And anticipated completion date on that is November of this year. So we are looking in good shape on that. Another project, this is a unique project. It's Lindsay Bridge Road up in Madison. There's a lot going on this project. I mean, obviously, anytime you have a bridge over water, it can get a little complicated. But when you throw in a whitewater park, a railroad, and then Pine Hall Brick, you know, their large facility there, there's just a lot going on. I was there at the opening of the Whitewater Park, I guess a couple of years ago, and I was standing there and a train came by. I think it was just an engine, and I'm sitting there looking at the top of that train, realizing the bottom of the bridge is going to be another 15 feet above that train. So you think about that, the tracks now, the bottom of the bridge will be 23.5 feet above that. So that's a pretty good task to get that bridge over the water, over the railroad tracks, and then tie it back down without disrupting the facility over on, you know, other side. So that's been a challenge. We are trying something because the railroad requires fencing on the structures that go over their facilities. Instead of just having a conventional chain link fence or, you know, even the black vinyl fence, it's not as aesthetically pleasing. And since we do have the Whitewater Park there and everything and all the other amenities on the river, we are using something called Clearview. It's basically a meshed fence that's fairly invisible. It's something that we've never installed those on a bridge before. This will be the first time. But we have, I think, used it down in Charlotte on controlled access right away in a few locations. So you will see that new product going in. So we're excited about that. Anticipated completion date on that is June of 2028. Next project we have, and this project was just let last month. It's NC 135 over US 220. Again, this is a fairly complex structure. I think someone was asking earlier about how do we maintain traffic for fire and EMS and all. This is another unique area where we have retail to one side, we have commercial, we have a school, and I visited the store to the south there several times. My son lives just a few miles from there, so we frequent there quite often on the weekends. So I do know how congested that could be. But this is another example of the project that will go ahead and build the new structure to the north, maintaining traffic on the existing structure, and then tie that traffic in. So a completion date on that is November of 2028. Probably start seeing some work on that probably March or April when the weather breaks. And there's another couple projects that we have. Island Drive Bridge over US 29. We actually just did the final inspection on that today, so that project is complete and accepted. We've got Estes Road Bridge over US 29. We're anticipating completion date October of 2026. And then the Hogan's Creek Bridge at US 158. And we're looking at, I think I've got an update, summer of 28 for that project. And then let's go into our future projects we have. The Eden Roundabout. And again, this was another challenging project. We, in our utility relocation and right-of-way acquisition phase, we did find quite a few of unknown utilities, which kind of drug that process out a little bit and actually made it a little bit more expensive. We found some underground storage tanks, some utilities that we just didn't know were there. But we got that behind us, and we're going to let that actually next month. And I've got down here completion of summer of 2028, but we're still working through the contracts on that. What I'm hoping to do, just because of the location where it's at, we're trying to bring that project forward a little bit to better that completion date. So hopefully we can complete that prior to the summer of 2028. And US 220, that's a project I think has been on Mike and I's radar for quite some time. I think ever since I've been here, about 6 years ago, I came over as division engineer. That's a project that we just didn't have any funding for because of the prioritization and the way it's scored. But I think everybody in the area understands the importance of US 220, similar to US 29. So we were able to receive $2 million in preliminary engineering funds. And what that allows us to do is start that environmental document, and that'll basically be for the whole project, from almost Guilford County line up to the Virginia line. And what we're going to do, similar to what we're doing on US 29, that could be a $600-700 million project for that whole one project, and that's a big bite out of the apple that I just don't think we can get funded. But what we'll do is break this project up into fundable, buildable portions and have a logical termini to where it makes sense to build one section, then the next section, then the next section. So that's what our preliminary engineering evaluation will allow us to go ahead and get the environmental document. We can look at, I know there's an express design project plan set I think that y'all have seen. That's a concept drawing. It's not, it's not really inked in. That's just an indication of where we think interchanges need to go, but we don't know the exact location. But this preliminary engineering work that we just started it, had our first meeting I think this past week, will allow us to start refining that, get our environmental document, start looking at service roads and actual locations of where those interchanges will be. And like I say, that started this month. And this is a small, but again, a very challenging project. Those that have been through this area, seen the break in the pavement where the trucks get high centered. We're actually lowering the grade there. So, and if just to the south, there's railroad track. And like I said earlier, anytime you have railroad, that kind of complicates things a little bit. So we did want to shorten that footprint up. Again, we're looking at utilities here, and we are actually going to lower the grade and lessen that hump, make that easier for trucks and larger vehicles to navigate, especially low-boy trailers and things like that. And I'll finish with our resurfacing and pavement preservation. For the year 2025 resurfacing, we've got about 28 miles of resurfacing, and we do have a handout, and there's a list of each road that we're going to resurface, so we can circulate that. 2025, this year we'll have, or last year, which is carrying on into this year, about almost 79 miles of pavement preservation, and then for the 26-27 construction season, we've got about 24 miles of resurfacing, as well as about 40 miles of pavement preservation. And again, we've got the roads actually broken out where you can see those, and that's the kind of information we can start supplying to the board, just so you guys have that and have that information at hand. And with that, I'll accept any questions. I kind of ran through that, but I'd be glad to answer any questions you have.
Do we have any questions for Mr. Archer? Commissioner Cowell.
On this, you talked about preservation. What exactly, for the public to know, what exactly is preservation of a highway?
The pavement preservation, that's basically, it used to be what we call tar and gravel. Now it's a lot more refined now, but it's not the plant mix asphalt, but we go in there. If we have to do something to the substrate, if we have to patch, we go in there and patch, and then we come back with several lifts of stone and asphalt, and then we have a fog seal that goes over that. Usually we put that on lower volume roads, not your higher volume roads, but you do get a good ride out of that. It's not like the old the old chip seals or the stone that we had like that, BST, things like that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. In Eden, there's a project on Church Street over the Tacky Branch. Is that one of y'all's projects? Can you give us an update on that?
Yes, sir, it is. That's one that we had, again, when you get into certain areas, there's a lot of unknowns about utilities. And that's, I think we found every utility known and unknown there. So I know the contractor has worked with us. We are delayed on that. I think we found a sewer line and some other lines. And of course, we have to investigate to see what's abandoned and what's not. Is it on a loop to where you can't cut it off, to where it's maybe supplying a backflow or something like that. So that's the primary issue that we had with that Church Street project. We are moving forward. Obviously, this with the weather, things have been slowed down over the holidays, but we should get back on track there.
Do you have an anticipated completion date?
I don't, but I can find that out.
Okay. Thank you.
Certainly.
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Richardson.
Thank you. And I want to mention up front before I ask you a question, I really appreciate you guys, you and your predecessors, because we get a lot of questions about roads, and we don't do roads. And fortunately, you guys take it up when we give you phone calls. Ryerson Road and a couple other roads over in that area you dealt with promptly. And I realized that it was probably your predecessor that intercepted those complaints, but you did a good job. We appreciate having that rapport with you. Would you explain for the use of our public about when they're going to have an opportunity to make input on any of your projects?
Well, we have a public hearing process, and that, like the preliminary engineering that we're starting on 220. So we'll have to compile the data, get the latest volumes, and I'm really hoping that helps that project score better, just knowing, again, I go up and down, visiting my grandson, several times a week now, and I've seen the volumes grow, especially all the way through the corridor. It used to kind of fall off as you went up 220, and now it doesn't do that anymore. Looking at the future homes that are coming and the future development, that's something we tie into the project to help that score too. But we have to get to a certain point to where we have really a document that we can say, okay, this is really refining this down. And it's going to be a little while on 220 before we have that. But typically, all of our projects, we get to a preliminary engineering phase, and then we'll go into a public information phase to where we are, depending on the size of the project, we are asking the public to make comments, going out to the public. But typically, we advertise that, and that's something we can do in this forum too, when we start to have projects that are coming up on that phase of public information. But that's something we do quite a bit of, is get that information out to the public so they know what's going on. They can make comments. And I know I worked in a neighboring division, and we had a little project over there called Business 40 reconstruction. Actually, the public chose to close that road, and it saved us probably about 3 years of construction time, and I don't know how many tens of millions of dollars. So we do value that public comment.
And we'll typically have a public meeting where we'll have maps up where people can come and look at it. We'll have people there stationed to answer questions, but they can also give us input online as well, too. So.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I fully understand everything that you said because I've been involved in it, but now you're going to have to explain scoring because I think the public doesn't understand scoring.
Yeah. So our project, our new projects are all on a data-driven system. And there's a criteria of scoring that each project has to go through, and it then ranks against its competitors. And there's really 3 levels. There's a statewide, which is typically your interstates or your major U.S. routes. And then there's a regional level, which are your lesser U.S. routes and your main secondary roads, and those are in 2 divisions. They compete for a pot of money within 2 divisions, and then you have the division level, which are your secondary roads and more minor roads, and they compete within the division for a pot of money. So it's all criteria based on congestion, safety, economic development. There are a number of criteria that as the Board of Transportation, we look at this. We do this every 2 years. It's a rolling 10-year plan, and every 2 years we update it. And as part of that process, we look at that criteria to determine, is that the appropriate criteria to be used statewide? And all of this is codified in state law. It's called the STI, and that is what guides how our projects get scored. And when Wright was mentioning earlier that a really useful part of the preliminary engineering on this 220 project is it will help us determine how to propose that project in a way that will speed it along as quickly as possible, because there's not many projects in the state that get funded at $700-800 million, at one chunk. But if you can fund it at $200 million at a time, it scores a lot better typically. And a good example is you probably have all over the last 15 years watched the construction of the Greensboro Loop, and it's gone kind of chunk by chunk by chunk, and that was a very similar process. So does that answer your question, Commissioner?
Yeah, well, I think what the public knows is they get a chance to impact scoring by talking to their elected officials and also talking directly to you guys during these public hearings. So that's the question that we get, people that want something to move ahead or think their project has more priority, and talk to DOT and talk to us and talk to your other elected officials, because those are the folks that put points on this scoring.
Absolutely. You raised an important point. There is at the regional and the division level, the MPOs, which are metropolitan planning organizations, and the RPOs, the rural planning organizations, which have representatives from the DOT board as well as local elected officials on all the jurisdictions. They get an opportunity to basically score and decide amongst the projects that they want to submit, what do they rank the highest. And so the local governments do have significant input at those two levels. And also, importantly, right now we're starting to go through the process with our board of looking at that criteria on the overall statewide level. And so, if folks are interested, they can contact me or Wright, and there are opportunities for public input on that process as well at the state board level.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You mentioned the bridge replacement along Highway 29 and a time frame for that. Do we have a time frame to convert any portion of 29 to Interstate 785?
I don't have a time frame now, but I know we're finishing up the environmental document, so we should get into public participation pretty soon. So hopefully sooner than later, because that's one we've been working on.
I can add a little to that too. One of the things too, fundamentally 29, if you look at an interstate from the 80s or 90s, it'd be Class A interstate. The feds, have upgraded and changed their standards. And so when you get a new interstate designation, they want you to meet that standard, despite the fact that probably more than half of I-40 in North Carolina doesn't meet that standard. And so typically an interstate is defined as control of access. You can only get on with an interchange. You can't have a driveway or anything like that on it. Your ramps have to have certain, links and criteria. None of these really short ramps where all of a sudden you turn a curve and you're merging in traffic. And then lastly, one very important criteria is they like to have room on the side to pull off if your car is disabled or something like that. And so on 29, there's clearly control of access. We've got that. But some of the ramps need some work, and some of these bridge replacement projects that we're doing, we're going ahead and bringing those up to standard, so we'll be ahead of the curve on that. And then eventually, we'll have to widen it. But there is an opportunity to get the Federal Highway Administration to waive some of those things, to give it full interstate status, as long as they know we're going to work on it. So we are hopeful that we can get to the point of doing that once we get the work done in Guilford County, to be able to push it all forward. So.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, any more questions?
Mr. Chair, can I ask one question?
Mr. Manager, please go ahead.
Yes, what's the status of the widening of 87 here in Wentworth?
I'll have to refer to the
brain
team.
trust
I'll have
is
to refer to the brains. Those are the brains behind the curtain, so.
Gotcha.
Last update, Rose, got pushed back.
2033, it got
Ooh,
pushed.
okay.
For the public, a lot of that time frame was changed once the storm came through the western part of the state, I believe. Is that right?
That's true. And one thing, I mentioned earlier, our plan is a 10-year plan, but in reality, we like to call it the first 5 years is what we really plan on. We know we can build, we've got the resources to build, and we've got the engineering done to do that. The second 5-year plan is the developmental program, and those are projects that are subject to being rescored, every 2 years, and they could be pulled forward if they score high enough, or they could be pushed back if all of a sudden there are a bunch of other projects that are much more needed. We try to maintain that flexibility because growth patterns, change over time, and what may have been a fastest growing area in the county 15 years ago is not now, and you have another hotspot. 220 is a great example, with all the residential development that has been approved out there, right there where the interstate ends, basically. We see that as something that's changed, in the last 5 to 10 years, and the county's, running of infrastructure, down 220 as well. That's certainly accelerated that growth. So we appreciate the fact that we've got the flexibility every 2 years to kind of relook at things and say, this one needs to go a little higher, and we can wait on this one a little longer.
Gentlemen, any more questions? Well, Mr. Fox, Mr. Archer, thank you for your presentation this evening.
Thank you very much for having us, and we'll be glad to come back anytime.
Thank you.
Let me make one comment about we've got a little bit of potential snow coming up, so just want to kind of let you know where we're at. We've had several calls. I think I try not to be an alarmist, but it does look like a pretty major storm coming. But our maintenance forces, we're at almost 100% with our salt dome, so we do have salt, really enough to give away to other adjoining counties or divisions. I know I think we just hauled over like 100 or 300 tons of salt to the PTI airport because they were scared they were going to be a little bit short. So that's how we work together. But we are having numerous calls. I do think it's going to be a pretty major event. And the problem is the next week, the temperatures are going to be so low. So I don't think, typically, snows come and go pretty quickly, but this is one that may stick around. So we're prepared for the pre-treat, the pushing snow, while it's going on, and then the aftermath of salting, and we've got some calcium carbonate and things like that can help break up that ice. So we just want to let you know we're on top of that.
Our website that talks about traffic.
Yeah, we do have a Tim's website that gives update road closures. So that's very valuable if you're traveling or probably the best advice is at least at first kind of stay off and let us do our work. And then after that, the Tim's websites, it's updated almost hourly. So
When you say Tim's website for the public, could you?
You can go to ncdot.com.
Yep.
Drive NC.
Yeah, Drive NC. That's our traffic information system.
Well, thank you for that update as well. That's very useful for everybody out there. Thank you again.
Okay, thanks for having us.
So that will bring us back to public comment. First signed up for tonight is Diane Parnell. If you please approach the podium.
I'm giving my time to Don Powell.
Don Powell, okay. Well, then next on our list is Mr. Jim Fink.
Mr. Chair, do you mean go with these?
Yes, please.
Okay. The public comment period shall be for the purpose of allowing members of the public to present any matter pertaining to county business or items on the Board of Commissioners' agenda. Remarks shall be addressed directly to the Board of Commissioners and not to staff, the audience, or media. The chairperson shall and did open the public comment period. Any speaker who wishes to speak shall approach the podium and not speak from his or her seat. Each speaker shall clearly state his or her name and physical address when he or she approaches the podium. Each person shall be allowed 3 minutes. Citizens will be allowed to yield their time on a specific topic by utilizing one more attendee's time. This would allow no more than 6 minutes. The total amount of time allotted for public comment period is 30 minutes. Your time will be displayed on the monitor in front of you. The clock will start with 3 minutes and yet less yielded time to 6 minutes. You will hear a beep at 1 minute to alert you to wrap up your comments. If you already yield time or time is yielded to you, then please let the chairperson know in advance. Speakers will not be allowed to campaign for public office, promote private business ventures, or use language of a personal nature which insults or demeans any person or which, when directed at a public official, is not related to his or her official duties. The Board of Commissioners may accept written comments in lieu of oral statements. Written statements can be delivered to the county manager's office. Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Mr. Fink, can you come on up? Has anyone yielded you time?
Yes, sir.
Is that Ashton Fink?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that'll be 6 minutes, Roy.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, Commissioner Callum and others. I'm Jim Fink. I reside at 405 Wedgwood Court in Eden, North Carolina. I would like to remind you all that this 6 minutes that I'm allotted is uninterrupted time, and that my lawyer is watching tonight, as well as some media. We have heard lately, guys, that from Commissioner Berger, Richardson, Hall, since the North Carolina Senate candidates have filed for office, we've heard a lot. Apparently, they have some issues that they still feel that need to be addressed. So insurance seems to be a hot topic lately around here, so I'm here tonight to also raise some serious concerns regarding apparent misuse of Rockingham County insurance resources in connection with pending litigation against a certain current and former commissioners. As this board is aware, Craig Travis filed a lawsuit against candidate Kevin Berger, candidate Don Powell, and candidate Mark Richardson in their personal capacities for defamation arising from their conduct during the 2024 Rockingham County Board of Commissioners, the primary campaign. These claims do not arise from any official government function. They arise from statements made during a political campaign conduct that was clearly personal. I have obtained a letter dated January 7th, 2026 from Travelers Insurance Company referencing claim and file number F as in Frank, 1H as in Hotel 6709 with a date of loss of July 10th, 2023. This letter identifies Craig Travis as the claimant. Mr. Travis did not file this claim. He was not a county commissioner at the time of the alleged loss. Mr. Travis has no reason to be listed as a claimant on any Rockingham County insurance matter. When Mr. Travis contacted Travelers to inquire about this letter, he was informed that the claim relates to a lawsuit against Commissioners Berger, former Commissioner Powell, and Commissioner Richardson that Travelers had been communicating with the law firm of Dowling PLLC regarding this matter. Dowling PLLC represents Commissioners Berger, Powell, and Richardson, as well as the GOP chairperson, Ms. Diane Parnell, in Mr. Travis's lawsuit against them. As a taxpayer in this county, this raises several deeply troubling questions for me and others. First, why is a county insurance policy being invoked to defend commissioners against claims arising from personal campaign conduct? Secondly, who authorizes submission of this claim to Travelers, and on what basis was it determined that campaign-related defamation claims could constitute a covered loss under a county insurance policy? Third, why is the plaintiff in the underlying lawsuit, Mr. Travis, listed as a claimant on the insurance claim that was never filed, has no connection to, and does not stand to benefit from? Interesting, isn't it? Fourth, what is the relationship between the law firm of Dowling PLLC and this claim? Who authorized Travelers to communicate with that firm regarding a claim submitted on behalf of Rockingham County? The citizens of Rockingham County deserve answers. You guys ask for them all the time. If county insurance resources, which are funded by taxpayer dollars, are being used and subsidized for the personal legal defense of individuals sued for their campaign conduct, that constitutes potentially a misappropriation of public funds. It appears that this board doesn't know its role. I respectfully request that this board provide a full accounting of this matter, including disclosure of who submitted the claim, the basis for coverage, the total amount of county insurance for public resources expended, reserved in connection with the defense of these personal property claims, or personal capacity claims, excuse me. It sure appears that the majority of you have stepped in a big pile of something. Doesn't smell very good. Mr. Berger, will you be cleaning up this mess also? Please consider each question asked tonight as a public information request, including the following questions. And I'll submit this to you, Mr. Messler. Questions for Mr. Berger. Are you aware of Travelers Insurance Claim F1H6709? Number two, did you personally authorize or requested submission of an insurance claim to Travelers Insurance Company in connection with defamation lawsuit filed against you by Craig Travis? Number three, the lawsuit against you alleges defamation arising from statements made during your 2024 campaign. Are you contending that statements made during the political campaign constitute official county business covered by a county insurance policy? Number 4, who made the determination that your personal campaign conduct falls within the scope of Rockingham County's insurance coverage? And what legal authority supports that determination? Number 5, the traveler's claim letter lists Craig Travis, the plaintiff who is suing you, as the claimant. Let me say that again, as the claimant. Can you explain why the person suing you would also be listed as a claimant on an insurance claim apparently filed by your benefit? Number 6, Travelers has indicated has been communicating with the law firm of Dowling PLLC regarding this claim. What is Dowling PLLC's role in your defense, and who authorized Travelers to communicate with them? Number 7, how much has Rockingham County's insurance carrier paid, reserved, or committed to pay in connection with your defense in this personal capacity lawsuit? Number 8, do you believe it's appropriate for Rockingham County taxpayers to subsidize your legal defense for statements you made during a political campaign, and how does this benefit us, the taxpayers? If it is determined that county insurance resources were improperly used to defend personal capacity claims arising from campaign conduct, will you commit to personally reimbursing the county for those expenditures? Number 10, have you consulted with the county attorney regarding whether your campaign-related conduct is properly covered under the county's insurance policy? And if so, what was the county attorney's opinion? And last, the claim date said to be 7/2023, but Mr. Travis did not file his lawsuit until mid-2024. Why are you backdating this claim? So for public information requests, I'm submitting these to be clarified and answered with the county manager. If you all have any questions, you can please refer to me, or you can contact my lawyer. Thank you.
Next, we have Mr. Doug Isley.
Good evening, gentlemen. Doug Isley, 1790 Flat Rock Road, Reidsville, North Carolina. Proud resident of Rockingham County. Citizen for life, if God wills. Mr. Kellum, board members. I have some questions from some past events concerning the trip to Maryland in regards to the zoning that you did for the entertainment lot. I've done some research, and I'm not so much here for politics, but I'm here for transparency. And I'm asking if the Maryland Cordish Casino trip was proper. Then the records, if that was proper, then the records should have already been made public. It's my understanding that they have been, several people have requested those records, and they've never been provided. I'm asking you gentlemen tonight and the county manager for the receipts, donor names, and all communications to be released immediately, because taxpayer-funded government does not get to operate in secret. There were some taxpayer dollars used for this trip through a group. There were some donations made. And Mr. Hall and I had some conversation about it. Mr. Berger and I had some conversation about it at the last meeting. Mr. Hall conceded that there were some dollars used. I think Mr. Metzler and I have talked some as well. This board needs to be transparent. It needs to be transparent. And in addition to that, taking your position and weaponizing it against other county officials for personal reasons seems a little out of order. And I know all you guys, and at some point we've been friends, and maybe one day we can still be friends. But this is not the way county government should run. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Isley. Last, we have Don Powell.
Went to sleep.
Sorry to keep you waiting, Don.
My name's Don Powell. I live at 356 Fawcett Road in Reidsville, and I had not originally planned to discuss this issue with you tonight, but my plans have changed. I know that back when we were looking at the UDO as a county, we looked at the shooting in the county, and we agreed to leave it as it had previously been, and I have no problem with that. I think that there is a clause in there that says that a person operating or that has a shooting facility on their land that may be teaching concealed carry has to buy a permit for that. I do have some problems with that. I don't think a person that's paying property tax on their land should have to buy a permit to teach others how to defend themselves. But that's not even the main issue. This past year, we were serenaded by thousands of gunshots from 4 o'clock in the afternoon till 10 o'clock at night after dark. Called the sheriff's department a couple of times. Wasn't their fault that they had to come back twice. It just wasn't shooting when they come at the time. And so I would like to suggest that maybe the board take a look at that and see if we could set a time limit. I know that there's some discussion about, well, there's a noise ordinance, but I'm not sure exactly what time that goes into effect. And I think that the times for shooting would change between, daylight savings time and the summertime to winter time. But surely after dark, absent the fact that you're military or law enforcement training somewhere in the county, that it would be reasonable to expect that shooting would stop then. We have a county full of elderly people that go to bed. I'm one of them. And by 10 o'clock, I'm trying to go to bed so I can get up and do something the next day. So just, there again, wasn't planning to bring this to your attention tonight. Plans change. But there's one thing that I would ask that you take a look at in the future if you could. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Powell. And that concludes our public comment for the evening.
Hold on a second.
Commissioner Berger.
Yeah, a couple of things. Clyde, I believe the insurance company made the determination that the lawsuit filed by Mr. Travis was something that was actually in the professional capacity. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And I believe that case was dismissed, and I would encourage each of you to go out and read the order about what the judge said. The intent of the lawsuit was to gain publicity and nothing more. So I would encourage you to pull that order up. And I believe, that's what you had tonight was an attempt to gain publicity. Thank you.
That brings us to presentation 8B, Chrissy Griffin, Rockingham County Veterans Treatment Court Coordinator.
Evening. The mouse has started acting up again.
Do we need you?
Oh, there we go. Sorry, it went to sleep. Sorry. Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to provide an update on Rockingham County Veterans Treatment Court. The mission of Rockingham County Veterans Treatment Court is to create a support system to assist justice-involved veterans through the criminal justice system and to promote public safety through accountability and responsibility. When the court was established, our goals were clear: to hold justice-involved veterans accountable while also addressing service-related challenges such as PTSD, substance use, and mental health needs. The intent was to improve public safety, reduce recidivism, connect veterans with services, reduce cost, and return assets to the community. We're fortunate to have a team that is passionate and dedicated to Veterans Treatment Court. Team members include District Court Judges Erica Brandon and Scott Skidmore, District Attorney Katie Gregg, Defense Attorney Tim Dugan, Probation Chief Matt Harris and Officer Shamika McCollum, myself as the coordinator, Mentor Coordinator Colonel Terrence Adams, Veteran Service Director Wanda Lane, Rockingham County Sheriff Sergeant Dwayne Anders, Rockingham County Clerk's Office Abner Bullens, Lauren Lowe, Michaela Frazier, and Brandy Daniels, Irvin Best with Daymark Recovery Services, VA Veteran Justice Outreach Specialist Jeremy Brogdon, and Sharon Dennis with Via Health, as well as mental health providers and substance use treatment providers. And we also have some of our team members here tonight. So I just want to give them a thank you for all of their passion for our program. The team collaborates on an ongoing basis. We typically talk multiple times a week, but we also meet before each court session to discuss the status of each participant, their compliance or non-compliance issues. Every member of the team contributes information and updates that show the progress and needs of each participant. The participants are discussed in detail to ensure compliance with their individualized treatment plan as well as Veterans Treatment Court requirements. The collaborative approach ensures accountability and supports participant success. In addition to the team members, each participant is assigned a veteran mentor to share the military culture and brotherhood with. We currently have 8 trained mentors who are engaging with participants to provide support. The mentors allow the participant to have someone to discuss their military life with, receive encouragement from, and someone who understands the transition from military to civilian life. How Veteran Treatment Court is different. The structure of Rockingham County Veteran Treatment Court ensures accountability and support. Each participant volunteers to join Veterans Treatment Court for a minimum of 14 months, have at least 2 drug screens a week, intensive supervision by probation, court 2 times a month, regular visits with providers, myself, and probation, and must check in daily. The court utilizes sanctions when needed to address non-compliance issues and also use incentives to reward progress. The participant is provided resources to help overcome barriers, provide support, and guidance on a frequent basis. So instead of just looking at their criminal charge, we're looking at everything that happens in their life and how that is creating barriers for their substance use and mental health. We also have a key aspect of court assignments. The assignments vary depending on the participant, but they can include writing where they see themselves in 2 years or what their triggers are, how they handle those triggers. Also writing letters to apologize to the victim of their crime or even writing their own obituary. The assignments provide a time for them to reflect and develop goals. So the drawing here is actually from one of our participants. He was assigned drawing a tattoo that told of his journey. So in the drawing, there is a young boy who is lost in the shadows. The chemical makeups that you see are the drugs that he used to handle life, which made him feel as if he was the big fighter jet. Instead, he was just a small paper plane going from place to place. As a result, even in these early stages, the program is producing encouraging results. All 5 participants are attending court sessions, actively participating in treatment, checking in daily, and complying with random drug screenings. Each participant is achieving personal goals such as restoring relationships, celebrating days of sobriety, and making positive changes in their lives. As I told one earlier last week, we are not checking boxes, we're changing lives. Several have progressed through phases as expected. We anticipate our first program completions within the standard program timeframe of 14 months. Furthermore, the participants are engaging in treatment, maintaining sobriety, and obtaining stabilized housing, changes that directly impact public safety and long-term outcomes. Veterans themselves have shared feedback that reflects the program's impact. One stated, "It's different when you have everyone looking," and he was speaking of his drug screen. Another participant had said he felt like his therapist didn't listen to me when Judge Brandon asked if he felt that the Veteran Treatment Court team listened to him. His response was, "Yes, sometimes too much." Another one has stated that he is protecting his progress, and another one said, "I'm starting to care about myself more, maybe for the first time ever." Looking ahead to 2026, we will continue to track outcomes, refine operations, provide regular updates. Our focus remains on accountability, effectiveness, and honoring veteran service through responsible programming. Thank you for your continued support of Veterans Treatment Court.
Thank you, Ms. Griffin. Gentlemen, do we have any questions or comments for Ms. Griffin? Commissioner Berger.
Ms. Griffin, certainly appreciate all your work on this. I know Ms. Howell was instrumental in getting this program off the ground. I understand that she has retired again. And as far as staffing, everything seems to be in good shape, would you say?
Yes, for right now, with our program just starting, I would agree that right now we're in good shape.
Okay. And of course, when my brother brought this idea to the county and, folks started getting on board, I know Judge Freeman was also instrumental, and of course, he's moved on to greener pastures. But we certainly appreciate Judge Skidmore and Judge Brandon stepping in to fill his shoes and take up the mantle. And it was predicted by my brother at the time that, once you get this off the ground, all kinds of folks will come in and try to claim that they had something to do with it, and we've certainly seen some of that. But just appreciate everything that you've done, and Ms. Gregg, everything that you've done to help get this off the ground, and the participation of everybody involved. So thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Ms. Griffin, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So this takes us to item 9 on our agenda, new business. Mr. Manager, do we have any new business this evening?
No, sir.
That will take us to commissioner comments. Commissioner Callum.
As the gentleman from the DOT said earlier tonight, as this weekend approaches, take care and make sure you go to the grocery store, a lot of milk and bread, and prepare for the storm to come. And think of your pets and any elderly that may need attention. Prepare to help them as well. And this storm may be very significant from what we're understanding, so take every precaution. And that is all I have. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Richardson.
Okay. Yeah, my thanks to everybody that showed up and hanging around there. My thanks to all and appreciation to all of the employees that went through our employee school, and particularly to Tinley Davis, who coordinated that effort. I hope we get good participation in the Citizens Academy that's going to be coming up starting in March. And if a person wants to get involved, they can contact you directly or through the county manager's office, and we'll be glad to help you out with that. And I think you'll find it most interesting to find out exactly how the government goes. Tonight, I'd like to recognize another employee of Rockingham County, Denise Fellows, who's in our finance office. She's was an accounting specialist and an accounting tech, but she's been with us now for about 6 years and does a great job on managing the public's money. She does know where that money is being spent and that it's all being sent to the right place and authorized legally. In fact, I would say our entire finance office is to be commended. But tonight, and if you do see Denise, pat her on the back and let her know that you appreciate her work. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Richardson. Commissioner Berger.
Yeah. Mr. Manager, I have 2 questions for you. We continually hear from Mr. Isley about public dollars being used for that economic development trip that we've openly talked about. How many times has that been explained to Mr. Isley by your office or your staff?
Several times.
Several times. That's what I thought. Then, as far as the sheriff's secret bank account that was discovered by the finance department, I know we were missing more than 10 years worth of information as of our last meeting. Have we gotten any additional information?
No, sir.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I got.
Thank you. Commissioner Hall?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, tonight, we're pleased to have in attendance Paula Rakestraw, member of our school board. And also, it's nice to hear from former Commissioner Don Powell. Thank you for being here. As well, tonight, we were honored to have our DA, Katie Gregg, as well as Judge Erica Stanfield Brandon. Thank you guys for being in attendance tonight. Chrissy, we appreciate the presentation. We love to hear how you're helping our citizens in the community. So thank you very much. And again, it's going to be cold. Be careful, guys. Mr. Chair.
So I would just also like to reiterate my thanks to everyone that came out to represent Veterans Treatment Court tonight. I think so far it's proven to be a very successful program, and I look forward to seeing the completion as we get closer to the 14-month mark. I would also like to continue my plea this evening for help with foster families. We still have over 170 children in foster care, and we are in desperate need of foster families. If you'd please consider being a foster family, or at the very least spreading the word about the issue with your civic organization or your church. We don't want to have to send these kids out of the state or out of the county even. So any help would be greatly appreciated if you reach out to the county and our social services department. I also would like to address the weather coming this weekend. Obviously, we don't know yet exactly how devastating it might be, but I did receive correspondence from our Director of Emergency Services this morning, Mr. Rodney Cates. They already are preparing for this weekend for the worst. We will have our emergency operations center up and running this weekend to monitor everything as the weather comes in. As you heard from DOT earlier, you can check their website to see for any road closures, and they will be very proactive about trying to get everything up and running. So with that, we will be recessing until our planning retreat, which will be on February the 2nd at 4:15. Gentlemen, do I have a motion to recess?
You do.
Motion by Commissioner Richardson.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hall. All in favor?
Aye.
We stand at recess.